Hey everybody, welcome back to another iiRcade Game Days live. I'm your host, Michael, executive producer here at iiRcade. All right, easy day today, especially just came in, popped in to say hi. Gonna be a short one for sure. We got a lot of things going on here, a lot of things in the background I gotta do, but I didn't want to leave you hanging this week too. I didn't really have time to pre-record something, so in that event, I said let's do a Q&A instead today. So with that being said, go ahead, start popping your questions in the chat. Welcome, happy Friday, everybody too. If you're doing questions too, put a bunch of question marks or asterisks or something that I can pick them out, because there's a lot of things. Again, I'm watching 3 different streams. You guys are watching one. So that's how it goes sometimes, right? No new games today. So taking a week off. I've been super busy traveling for the expos on top of, other events going on top of all the stuff that I normally have to do on top of everything else, right? So no new game releases today. However, stay tuned next week. I think we're going to do some fun announcements next week going on as well. Things are planned. Things are happening. Things are in motion that can't be taken back at this point, which is great. I'm excited. So pay attention next week especially. But this week, just a very chill Q&A. No new games today too. Nothing online or anything like that too. Nothing to announce or anything like that. So if you're looking for that kind of stuff, I'm not going to drop any more things on you. This is it. Just an easy question day. And then I got to go get going, right? So I can't even talk today. Here we go. And now this accent's coming out. I don't even know what's happening, people. Here we are. All right, let's take a look at this chat. Let's see, get these questions rolling here. Any update on Operation Wolf? So no updates yet on Operation Wolf. The only thing, you guys can hear me, right? My mic's kind of far away. I don't know how this is working right now too. I changed things around here a little bit today. Good? Okay, cool. So no real updates on Operation Wolf right now too. It is getting ready on the back end. So people who were here at the party, we had a good time and stuff like that too. But beyond that, they could see it is working in a very alpha state right now too. But it is working pretty solid, right? Beyond that, it still does take time for the licensing approvals to happen. So we have the license. I shouldn't say it that way essentially, but to make sense, Taito still does have to approve all the gameplay and everything as well too. So they do heavily test the games themselves, which is great. So they do have final say and all that stuff to make sure that it's up and running well. It takes a little bit of time to get it approved, right? Beyond that, we are still integrating different Lycon softwares and things like that into drivers and such, especially into our own drivers and such, right? So that takes a little bit of time to integrate into these software. So we're working on our back end as well as, just waiting on the final approval for the game itself. Beyond that too, we'll get it out to you as soon as possible. I would expect Operation Wolf to release later on this year. I would say it's going to be before the holiday time too. Don't quite hold me to that because I honestly don't know necessarily, right? But realistically speaking, yes, it should be before then sometime. And we're making it happen as soon as possible for Operation Wolf, along with potentially, maybe there's other Lycon games coming. I don't know, right? But yes, that's the update for Operation Wolf. Let's see here. What are the things? Punk Rock Dave, I didn't kick the Dragon's Lair to the curb. The Dragon's Lair is actually behind the camera right now. It's actually right over there. This was just here for a different meeting that somebody was using the room for. And I decided to turn it on today too, put some Rising Hell on because it's getting to be spooky season. So I put on that Rising Hell. I did turn it on for once, right? So you can see the marquee. But of course, it always looks washed out on camera. That's how it goes too. One day, we will get a better camera. I swear. We're just not a bunch of streamers in the house. It is what it is. All right. Crazy week, yes. Time to relax for sure. Yeah. Happy Friday, everybody, too. I hope everybody's having a good time. I hope everybody's actually going to take a weekend. I do actually have a weekend for once. I'm a little excited to do nothing, honestly, is what's happening. I'm excited for that. Hollywood Polo, yeah. No new online games today either, too. So no new online games, too. I did promise you more online games. I swear they are coming. We are working on them. However, we'll talk about that in a little bit as well, too. I do have a little sheet to go over, but we'll talk about online a little bit more later on today, too, after we get through some more questions. So hold on to that one. Is Retromania still getting an attract mode? Let's talk to Retrosoft about this one. Yes, it's still planned on having an attract mode. Waiting on an update for that one from Retrosoft Studios. Let's see. Who's this guy with the Burt Reynolds? I don't even have a mustache anymore. The mustache is gone. I'm a little lazy with shaving, I'm not going to lie. So, yeah, no mustache, though. Fun announcements next week. Yes. So, yeah, tune in next week 100% if you're looking for fun announcements. Next week, yes, we'll have some fun next week. Maybe you'll see Zhang again. Who knows, right? Never know when that guy's going to pop in. Operation Wolf Cabinet with gun holster. Who knows? Anything's possible in the future, right? So we do have Operation Wolf licensed. We have not announced any sort of cap skin for it or holsters. The problem, honestly, with holsters, so the guns that we have actually do have recoil, I've learned. So that works, which is great. But beyond the recoil that I've learned about, the holsters that come with it, like go into the sides of the machine, but you have to screw them with 4 screw holes. So maybe we'll come up with some sort of solution. Maybe like somebody like Gunther or Glenn or somebody can also come up with some sort of solution for like maybe utilizing the screw hole on the side for gun holsters for light guns. Who knows? Keep in mind, for now, we've only announced 1 light gun game, so don't get too into that kind of stuff quite yet, too. But I mean, if you want to, go for it, I guess. But however, we have not announced any other light gun games quite yet, so keep that in mind too. Keep your that's all I'm going to say about that. Anyway, and remember too, our light gun games too. So Operation Wolf. Especially too, we have confirmed too, it is working with the joystick. We already have it verified it's working on our end too. So it does work with joystick along with light gun. Clearly it is not the same as playing a light gun game with the joystick. You understand that? We know. Maybe we'll have other solutions too, potentially for light gun games coming down the road. We do have accessories coming from Glenn, right? So GRS products along with some other ones. So maybe things like spinners, or not spinners, but trackballs could work potentially with the light gun game too. Not saying, I'm not going to confirm that right now. However, these are things that we're clearly playing around with too for other potential options for light gun games as well for the OG caps. Plus, maybe potential Bluetooth solutions down the road too. We'll see. We'll see where that goes. But keep in mind, currently it's only 1 game. So don't worry. We're not just leaving you in the dust on that stuff. When does UI come out? We'll talk about UI in a little bit too. Love the Dead Cells cat behind you. Thank you. You can not get your own right now, at least too, until we are back in stock. Currently, we're sold out on the gold caps, especially at the expo. It was a crazy time for me talking to people being like, hey, we're sold out. Keep in mind, we'll put that kind of stuff in the newsletters. We'll talk about it here whenever we get our next shipments in. However, do pay attention to the newsletter on the website. We don't spam or anything like that, so no worries there. But we will announce it there as well too. So that could potentially beat my announcement even whenever we get the next shipment in. Just saying, for golds, if that's what you're looking into. Any plans on using retailers again, such as Best Buy? Yeah, currently we are still on bestbuy.com right now too. I don't know that we're still on walmart.com right now, just stock-wise. We're low on inventory. We're getting stuff coming in. However, it takes time to get here. So I don't want to promise anything before the holidays or anything like that too. So don't get your hopes up on gold before the holidays right now. You're looking probably more towards Q1, but I don't know that either, right? So I'm just saying I'm not going to get your hopes up and tell you that something's going to get here for the holidays when we don't necessarily know quite yet, right? So stay tuned on that stuff. But yeah, we're still on bestbuy.com, at least with Retromania currently. I know that, as well as potentially other things getting put up on the website soon for bestbuy.com. And then we'll see. We'll see what the 2023 holds for that as well. Yes, we have released 48 games in 2022. Actually, that count might be a little bit off. I got to do my own count, Kev, but thank you for that. Yes. I know we released a couple hundred games last year, a little bit under that this year. However, things take time, licenses take time, and we are still working on games that haven't been released yet, of course, as we've talked about too. Let's see here. Hope my sending around before Operation Wolf was released. I don't know, right? Different company, different problems in the world too, right? At least we test the games first. Yes, we do. I actually have a team of QA working on some fun stuff right now. For you guys. So we'll see that you guys have not seen yet, which I'm excited about. Maybe we'll talk about that more later. I don't know. But yes, we do have a QA in-house that does test the games too. Chris, Operation Wolf played great. A game group, great. Yeah. So it did. Again, and that's just the alpha state, so we'll only get better from there too. It's never going to go downhill, hopefully, I would say. Let's see here. Other questions. Remember, put some asterisks in there. Put some question marks. It's just an easy Q&A day, guys. So, nothing I got hidden on my sleeves. I promise you that. So things are in motion that can't be taken back. Yes. Please don't do my Lord of the Rings quote. I swear. Anything down the line. So I can't talk about licenses that we haven't announced yet. As always, my number one rule, right? I can't do it. I'm not allowed. Yes. So I got to leave that there. Here's an interesting question from Test99. Question, can you pitch sub Octo? I don't think it got much attention. Yeah, because I was gone, right? And it's another great modern retro game. If I missed it, My bad. Yeah, so it's up to you. Yeah. So again, you never have to be forced to purchase any game. There's always that 30-minute refund window as well too. Especially for games like this that install pretty quick. You can always have at it for a little bit, 10 minutes or so, take it back. No worries on that. However, yeah, Sub-Octo is a great game from In-City Games. So shout out to Christopher if he's watching right now too. One of my favorite developers over at In-City, bringing us some more titles and stuff like that too. Sub-Octo is one of those, right? So previously they had Longhead just before that, and then 3 weeks later, right? We did Sub-Octo, so they're kind of cranking them out over there, which is great. Sub-Octo, if you know the game that we have as well, Jalico Big City Connection, that's more the arcade style game, right? It's very similar to that. That's driving around. You have to unlock all the different platform stuff. Sub-Octo is kind of very similar to that, right? Instead, you're playing as an octopus or squid. Octopus, for sure. I mean, Sub-Octo, right? With a little thing, kind of looks like a minion, right? You have to unlock all the different... You have to clean the ocean floor, right? To do that, you have to touch each tile. And then beyond that, avoiding enemies and all that stuff too. There's power-ups, things like that too. But you're collecting that, and then you collect the keys. And the keys unlock the next section of the level, right? There are, I believe, 10 stages in Sub-Octo. There are leaderboards for sure. And there are different ways of getting higher and higher scores too. So it's very much a score chaser game. So if you're into that, check out Sub-Octo. I don't have a video, unfortunately, loaded up right now. But yeah, Sub-Octo is a great arcade-style game that just released on our platform, and I believe it's coming to Switch later on this year as well. Sorry, I'm a terrible salesman potentially today, but yes, it is fun. If you like an arcade style game, you're a leaderboard chaser, especially like me, like a lot of us, it's a great game to have. Yep. I can't talk about games that are in the works that are unannounced. As always, I'm not going to do that. I'm a very tight-lipped producer. Let's see. Dave, yeah, so we just talked about this. I don't know if you missed it in the chat too. Yes. Can we play Operation Wolf with the original console joystick? Yes. Again, we're not leaving that cab in the dust just because it doesn't necessarily have Lycons at the moment that are possible that we know of currently, at least too. Yes, Operation Wolf will still be made to play with a joystick. However, again, I will emphasize, I understand fully that playing a game with a light gun is not the same experience as playing a game with a joystick. I get it. Please don't yell at me. I understand. Yes. We're working on things. Yes. And potentially other solutions, right? Like potentially maybe it works with a trackball later on down the line too, right? Who knows, right? Who knows what the future holds? We're working on plenty of stuff on the back end, but yes, 100%. You can purchase Operation Wolf on day one out the gate whenever it does release, and you can use the joystick to play the game. Yes, 100%. Let's see here. Obligatory 3D fighter request. Oh, I know. Don't you worry. I do see game requests. I see them on Facebook. I see them in emails. I see them all over the place. I know. So yes, I do know what you guys want. Doesn't always mean that it's possible right now, right? It doesn't mean that we don't have them in the hopper already too getting worked on. Who knows, right? But yes, a lot of times I see game posts, which are great games too. Luckily enough, a lot of times I've either contacted the developer already months ahead of time or years ahead of time even too. Heard about. It's rare that I find a game on the forums and stuff that I have missed at least too, but doesn't mean it doesn't always happen. Sometimes I do miss games. I'm one person. Zhang's one person. We're a small team here. So yeah, always feel free to post that kind of stuff too for requests. Doesn't necessarily mean it's coming. There could be multiple things that are going on with it, right? Doesn't mean it's not coming either, right? Who knows? Let's see. Are you going to do game sales like last year? Who knows, right? Let's see. Questions. One other things here. Yeah, I could do the double dragon cab behind me maybe one day too. I thought about bringing that in today. I just didn't want to move it. Let's see here. Yes, my mustache is gone forever. Oh, for now. Any cabinet sales coming? I don't know. You have to wait and see. The Gen 1 is still technically on sale on the website right now at $5.99. That is still a sale price. If you don't remember, the Gen 1s are actually $7.99. The same exact price that we did the pre-sale for on these bad boys here behind me here. Yeah, Gen 1 was originally that price. Keep in mind. So they have dropped in price since then to make way for, new. Let's see here. 2-stick support for Karate Champ, maybe. Originally, right, so when that game came out, that was one of our first-ish titles, right? Now, I shouldn't say first-ish, but it was earlier on in the life cycle of our company. Not that we're that old anyway, right? We're not even 2 years old, technically speaking, yet, right? It's still very much a startup over here. But Karate Champ, the decision originally was made to do not twin stick, but instead to do the 2-player, right? Because we're a 2-player cabinet. We wanted people to experience the game a different way with, multiple people. Maybe we'll revert that. Maybe we'll be able to essentially run 2 different specs on the game that we can do. One is twin stick and one is 2-player with buttons instead and single stick, right? Those are still things that we are potentially working on, ideas that we've had. Who knows? No word on that currently for a Karate Champ, but maybe soon. That is something I think about every now and then for sure. It's on the list it's always on the list. Everything's always on the list. But yes, we have looked into that. Potential options. We'll see. What are my thoughts on Google Stadia? I don't talk about other companies on our company channel, just saying. So yeah, Google Stadia was fun. Unfortunately, it has gone away. So we'll see. Google's handling it well. They're a multi-trillion-dollar company. They'll be okay. Those developers, I have no idea what's going to happen to. I don't think anybody is really doing Stadia exclusives, so we'll see. Just because a product goes under does not mean that we just all of a sudden gobble up all those games. That's not quite how it works all the time, right? So just saying on that one. If that's what you're hinting at, yes. All right, so that one I can't put out. Let's see. Questions that I could take right now. Let's see. Don't sleep on Octo. Yes, I agree. It's a fun game for sure. Okay, because I keep getting Okay, all right. So yes, currently light guns. There is no current light gun solution for, not this guy behind me, however, the standard edition caps, right? The OG caps. There's no current solution that we have yet, right? Because light guns that are Bluetooth don't work. You can say Wiimotes and stuff like that. I understand. Different things entirely. So we'll see. We are still looking into various options and things like that too. I'm not going to promise you light guns yet for those cabinets. I will make zero promise on that, zero claim on that. However, yes, it will work with the joystick. A light gun game like Operation Wolf that we are releasing is already announced. It does already work on our system with both light gun and joystick, so you can play the game that way. Yes, again, I understand. Joystick is not the same as a light gun. I understand this. Other solutions potentially, right? So we'll see. But yeah, that's the deal with Operation Wolf for now, right? At least out the gate for now. It's not even, technically not even out the gate. It's not released yet. So who knows what's going to happen by the time it does release, right? Let's see here. Is it possible to get Octo with a different birthday song or a different song in the background when the level clears? You'll have to talk to the developer on that one. That is In-City Games. That is not us. So you'll have to take that up with them. Christopher's watching. Sometimes the devs do watch the show and they tell me about it. So it's great. So maybe he's watching right now. So I'll put this comment here just for him, just in case. I can't say that he will see it or not, but yeah, you want to contact In-City Games, not iiRcade. Also, side note, Congo Bongo leaderboards I saw somebody post about today too. I'm coming for you all on the Congo Bongo leaderboards. Just know that. Coming back with a vengeance. Just wait, very soon. Surprised we haven't seen a twin stick shooter. Technically speaking, we do have a twin stick. I shouldn't say shooter, right? But oh my gosh, Ultra Mission does play twin stick as well. What else? There was another one too. Can't think of it off the top of my head. However, Dead Effect 2 also does play twin stick, technically speaking. So there you go. Will there be more coming down the road? Who knows, right? I think I don't look into twin stick games that I want to play myself. Come on. Let's see here. Other questions. Okay, I can't take all these questions all the time too, and now my thing is spamming. It's great. So are there here any other third-party hardware people talking with you guys besides Glenn? I can't really talk about all of them, but yes, there are others. But yes, I can't necessarily speak on all that too. We're using, if there's open source stuff, especially, we can use that, which is great. It depends on, how much time and attention it needs for us. If it works, great. If not, we'll see. Things take time, especially. But yes, I can promise you that we are working again. We're partnering with Glenn for GRS products. So GRS products are heavily what we're designing these things to work with, though. However, other solutions, right? We've showed up Sind and Lycons, so we know Sind and Lycons work currently as far as that goes, because they've released all their open source drivers for Android now, which is great. That's what we put into our system. Beyond that, nothing to make note of yet. However, I'm pretty sure GRS has you covered for 1, great prices, and beyond that too, it's definitely going to work. 3, it's a fantastic premium product, right? So that's why we're partnered with Glenn. So yeah, maybe you'll see some of his stuff on the website as well too. Yep, that's definitely what we'd like to get up whenever we start rolling that stuff out. Make it a little bit easier. Point you straight to his website from ours instead, right? Okay, what else here? Other questions. Again, I can't answer game-related questions of things that are not announced yet. But I can talk about games that are out. There you go. Is the sub Octo leaderboard down? Shouldn't be, but I can double check. I can't check currently, but yes, I can double check on that. It should not be down though now. All the leaderboards should be up right now. See here. Oh, now I see you've answered no question. Sorry about that. Okay. Yes, they are up. Let's see. Okay, we already talked on this. All right. I don't know if there's anything new in this as far as questions go. If not, we'll go into the next sort of topic a little bit too. Yeah, that's going to be answered soon. Let's see here. Yeah, I can't talk on a lot of these questions. Awesome. All right. We're going to move on to the next topic soon. Where's the stash? It is gone. It is gone the way of the dodo. I don't really know. Will it ever be back? Who knows, right? It's in its infancy again. All right. So I do have some stuff. I'm going to skip these off right now. Let's see here. Okay. A lot of questions. We'll get back to questions. All right. Just want to talk a little bit on things that you've already asked about, kind of, right? So a little bit at least. So things that are going on in the background at least all the time, right? So, of course, number one, this way. Okay, I can point my right hand. I swear. I can figure this out, people. It's complicated technology for me. Okay, games. There we go. Games. I know. Number one ask all the time is more games. Of course, we're a console. That's what we do, right? There's a lot of games that you don't see that are being worked on in the background. Yes. There are more games coming. Yes. There are already licensed games that are coming, being worked on. Yes. We are porting games ourselves in the back as well as other companies porting them. So it's both. This takes up a lot of time, right? So it's not instant. Are we developing games ourselves too? Potentially, right? So these are things that we always are doing on the back end that you don't see. These eat up a lot of our time. So yes, more games are coming. What they are, I can't tell you until they're ready to go. It's how it works. It's the nature of the beast. Other things for sure, online, right? So online still in its alpha. We know it's in its infancy. Taking a little bit more time. It's at not backseat, I shouldn't say, but like mid-level seat for a little bit now, for a couple of different reasons, right? There's big priorities to get to, both in games and other things, right? So online, yes, we're still working on online improvements. We actually just tested more of it today. So online gameplay improvements, connectivity improvements, server improvements, P2P improvements, stuff like that. On top of singular online lobby, we know that you want that. It takes time for us to do that. There's some incredible things that go on the back end with software that we have to worry about with connecting things. But yes, we have announced a big lobby is coming that you can use. What that's going to look like, not quite ready to unveil just yet. So, and then of course, other online features in the background we're working on. Don't you worry, right? So these are things that take up time that you just don't see. So don't at me. Accessories integration takes up more of our time, right? So Lycon software, GRS products, other products too, integrating those into our system, getting worked on right now. Yes, takes up a lot of my time. User interface / user experience, right? So yes, we've announced this before too. There is a launcher overhaul that has to happen. There's a store UI that has to happen. There's a website version that has to happen. There's an app version that has to happen. There's some other stuff that has to happen. So yes, UI and user experience does take a lot of our time right now, but it is being worked on currently and actively. Yes. When will it release? Not quite ready to tell you that yet either too. I don't want to get your hopes up. However, we are still trying to get it done this year as best as possible. There's a lot going on here at iiRcade. These are things that are all being worked on simultaneously, mind you, right now too. On top of that, of course, expos and events. We still got another big one coming up in November, so I'm excited for that. And I've been traveling for a lot of those. Those take up our time as well too, getting ready for those. And then of course the normal day-to-day operations of the company, right? Customer service, quality assurance, manufacturing and shipping, sales and marketing, business development. Surviving as a human being takes up some of my time as well, mind you, right? So yes, burnout's a real thing. We try not to do that here at iiRcade. So just keep that in mind. We are human beings. Things take time, right? So with that in mind, these are sort of our current processes that are going on that we can talk about. There's also other things that I can't even talk about right now going on in the background, other fun projects that we just can't speak on quite yet. So yeah, so keep in mind, take it with a grain of salt that when we don't release games and stuff, there's a lot of stuff going on. So just so you know, we are a company. We're a very small company still. We are a startup company still. We haven't even been, the game store hasn't even been active for 2 years yet. It's been just over a year and a half now, right? So since we've been live and thriving on the game store, which originally released with 34 titles, 36 titles on it, I believe is right, on Christmas Eve of 2020 was the official launch date on that. So yes, take it with a grain of salt, but yes, these are the things that are being worked on. So as you ask me these questions, I see, yes, we are working on things like UI and stuff like that heavily, along with a lot of other features that are heavily being worked on currently. We're just not quite ready yet to announce dates and things like that. However, next week, maybe I'll announce a date on one thing or another next week. Maybe it will be game related. Maybe it will be software related. Maybe both. Who knows, right? I mean, I know, technically speaking. However, next week we will have an actual announcement, so stay tuned for that. Beyond that, everything else is being worked on, right? So, all right. With that in mind, I'll take some more questions. We're about half an hour now. We'll probably take maybe 5, 6 more good questions, and then we'll call it a day, right? Easy day. Nothing too exciting today, right? Halloween-themed games. Yeah, I love Halloween-themed games too. Let's see here. Never going to finish Zhang Pong. Every time somebody asks about Zhang Pong, I push it back. We've talked about this before. All right. Let's see. Kevgrit. Don't ruin my surprises, okay? Yes, Once Upon a Time on Halloween is an in-city game. Very Cuphead sort of inspired kind of tapper game, right? We'll see if that comes out, right? Let's see. Pumpkin Jack, I love. I'm not saying Pumpkin Jack's coming, but I remember watching the entire development process for that game. So whoever mentioned that, Zero Redo? Yeah. Zero Redux? Zero Redo. Zero Redux. Anyway. All right. What else we got? What other questions can I answer that I haven't already answered today? Anything I can do? Anything I can do to help you? Any kind of game-related questions, too, that I can actually answer, right? Remember, I've played all of these games, so keep that in mind, too. So is my poor QA team. To Ignacio. Again, I can't announce dates on any of the things that I just talked about quite yet. These are just things that we are currently working on. And trust me, there's even more than that we're not even ready to unveil yet. Yes, you do have online now. Yes. However, online improvements are always coming. It is still alpha. It is still alpha online, ready to switch to beta at some point here, right? Let's see here. Okay, more questions. Let's go 5 more questions. Okay. Let's see here. Questions I can actually answer. Questions I missed also. Did I disclose this stream is sponsored by iiRcade? I didn't. Thank you for reminding me, Punk Rock Dave. This officially licensed iiRcade stream is sponsored and owned fully by iiRcade. Just like me. The inevitable Gordon Lemon asking about hockey. I knew this question was coming eventually. Stay tuned. As always. The funny thing, you look into more hockey games, you realize they're mostly NHL games, I've realized. There are plenty that aren't either, though, too, right? Don't I know it? Let's see here. Okay. All right. Sorry. Scrolling through all my feeds here. Taking a minute. Thomas, we talked about this earlier. Restock on the gold cabs. Again, I'm not promising anything on restocking on gold cabs right now, too. We are going to be restocking, yes. However, when that is and how many that's going to be, stay tuned on that one. I don't want to get your hopes up that it's before the holidays. Yes, we are trying. However, I don't want to say it's going to be here before the holidays if you're planning on that, and getting your hopes up and then it's not here, right? I don't want to do that, right? So take that with a grain of salt. But yes, we are working on restocking some gold caps right now. Actually, that's an ongoing process, technically speaking, right? Yes, not just immediately now, but past weeks, months, yes. Let's see here. It's a cool question, actually, from Test99. Can you talk about trying to translate the arcade experience into a home console? Yeah, so this is a really good question. This is like a docu-series that you need on this, honestly, for like a lot of us companies, honestly. So let's see. Can you talk about trying to translate the arcade experience into a home console? Yeah, so really, I think it began. I mean, John would really be the one to talk on this, right? But I'll take a swing at it as well, too. So what's nice about iiRcade, right, is that we are a console. We call ourselves that for a reason, because we're not one and done, right? We're not a singular piece of hardware that you buy and purchase, and then that's it. That's all you get. You might get some updates and things, and that's it. We're an ever-evolving thing, right, with software updates and new features that we roll out all the time, right, all throughout the year, which is great. So that's why we're very much a console. And again, of course, because you can purchase the games digitally and download them, and you can pick and choose the games that you want that way, right? That's really why we're a console. How does it translate from an arcade experience? Yeah, so it's difficult sometimes. A lot of work goes into this, especially with the games that we pick. We kind of get choosier with games, I think, now than we used to. Not all the time. I shouldn't say that. But it's rare that I look at a game, we don't try to do it, but there are definitely certain games that we look at and we're like, this just probably won't play too well on our system. Not like performance-wise and stuff, but like it just won't translate into an arcade type of experience, right? So of course we've hit a nice niche with like games like Galacticon or Donut Dodo or Longhead, those kind of games too. We just talked about Octo, right? Those newer sort of titles that translate very well because they're designed as an arcade experience. Those are easy, right? So those are easy games that we can bring in here too. $5-10, whatever they might be and stuff, and just be like, bam, done, good to go. Leaderboards were cool. All right, they have their own track mode. Sometimes it's great. Games like Dead Effect 2, very difficult to translate into an arcade experience. It works out, but it doesn't always work out the way that you expect it to, right? So sometimes you got to take it with a grain of salt, take a step back, say, hey, can we do better with this, right? So we look into that kind of stuff. But the real difficulty always comes in finding games, modern games that aren't arcade games too, and even arcade games. So separated into two categories. Arcade games are difficult sometimes to translate to a console kind of version. One, because we have to stick to, currently at least, we have to stick to this form factor, right? So it has to work with this. That cab might not look like this at all too. It could be a 4-player cab, could be a 6-player cab, could be a 2-player cab, could be a 1-player cab, could be a 4-way stick, could be an 8-way stick, could be a square gate. Who knows, right? There's a lot of things. It could be a mounted light gun versus, an unholstered light gun, right? These are things that we always have to take into account with the arcade games, especially. That can be hard to translate, but we do our best, right? Usually it works out. However, sometimes it just has to be a new experience. You're not going to get the same experience necessarily all the time, right? So certain games are just so specific, right? Trying to think of a really good title that we have that, or like something I can think of necessarily. Anyway, I mean, say Operation Wolf per se, right? We clearly don't have mounted light guns on here, right? However, Operation Wolf is a mounted light gun where you go about the stick, it's holstered, it's there, right? You're not picking it up and moving away from the machine, right? So there's a difference when you play that game on an iiRcade, currently at least, versus the actual machine, right? We have to take that into account. Does that mean that we maybe add a cursor in, or like a crosshair, right? Does that mean that we need a crosshair and stuff like that too? When you're playing with joystick, you probably need a crosshair, right? Versus the real game where it doesn't use a crosshair. So we take all of this into consideration when we factor in the arcade games. Now, modern games are a different monster entirely, right? So with modern games, translating them to an arcade experience is something brand new usually, right? Some of them, easy, right? They're designed for it. We just talked about 4 of them, right? Galacticon, Donut Dodo, that kind of stuff. Easy. However, games like Dead Cells, right behind me here, you never know sometimes it's going to translate well. Platformer usually does, right? However, there's a lot of buttons in that game too. It could be like a 10 or 12 button game too, on top of the joysticks, right? How's that going to work out? Sometimes we have to consolidate those. It depends, right? Sometimes you need a start menu. Sometimes you don't need a start menu. Sometimes you need a coin button. Sometimes you don't, right? So we take all of this into account, and yeah, that's pretty much what it's been like so far. It's been a wild ride for the past 2 years now for me, in translating games into arcade games that weren't arcade games, or translating actual arcade games into a console version, right? So it's a lot. There's a lot that we think about all the time too. So this was a fantastic question. Thank you. And again, we could do a whole series of videos on this, honestly, too. If I ever had time, this would be a great one to like go around and interview people too. Be great too. All right. Is this technically a group chat? No. All right. Other questions. Let's see here. Let's see here. Yes, talking about other games. I see that. There's In-City Games. All right, you are here. All right, cool. Thank you for support. I'll read this one out loud. So In-City Games, who makes Sub-Octo, Mario Caps, Jetpin Arcade. Oh my gosh, Longhead, which you released. Do we have any others right now? I'm trying to think. I feel like I'm missing one. Anyway, shout out to In-City Games. There you go. Thank you for support. It is very important to me and gives me strength for new projects. So there you go. One of our wonderful developers. And not just for us too, right? In-City Games is their own developer too, so you can check out the games on other platforms as well as iiRcade, right? So just so you know, we do not own them. There's no exclusivity deals that we have or anything like that with them. So yes, In-City Games is making games for the sake of making games, which is exactly what I love. Don't sleep on Super Barrels of Baking. Yeah, Super Barrels of Baking I kind of missed a little bit too the other week. Super Barrels of Baking is a great platforming game. Let's see. I already talked about this one. All right, I'm going to take 3 more questions because the last one was pretty long, right? We've been going for like 40 minutes now. We're good. Let's see here. Yes, I already know about other games. Don't you worry. Can we get interesting question. Can we get a bass boost update for audio? Maybe. Potentially. I haven't really thought about it, honestly, too. So on the gold cap specifically, though, probably not, honestly. One, they have pretty solid bass already, too, with the speakers and stuff. But beyond that, these are, again, sound by JBL. So Harman Kardon does do all the audio software and stuff that's involved with that. And it is tweaked exactly for our system. The way that they take in mind the shape of the cabinet, they take in mind where it might be sitting in the room, they take in mind our speakers, they take in mind the slant of the screen and the way that the sound reverberates off the control deck and stuff. They're very smart people. They're way smarter than me. And so the audio solutions that they put into Gold especially, we probably cannot change that or alter that. At least we would never do that ourselves too. They would be the ones who would go in and do that. Can there be a bass boost? Maybe we'll bring that up to them and see if that's possible. But I don't know. The way they've tweaked it, though, they balance those levels exactly how they're supposed to be. Let's see. Sathius, all right, is asking, do the cabs have full screen or widescreen? So the answer is actually both currently. Will there be other screen options later on? Who knows, right? Or like when you plug in through HDMI, will it be different? Who knows? So currently, the games run at their native resolution, at least, or their native aspect ratio, I should say, is really what it is. So some of the vertical shooters, right, are bordered with that too. Some of the other games, like Mayhem Brawler, say, is a new game. They opted to actually not change the aspect ratio because it was a little bit too difficult for that particular game, because sometimes it's just meant to be that way. So that game is actually a widescreen game. Looks just fine on here too. The reason that we keep our bezel fully black, we don't put anything on that or anything like that. There, you'll never see like art or branding and stuff like that, at least currently on our bezel, right? We do it to keep it black so that the games don't get abruptly like taken away because there's some sort of marking on that, right? So, however, most of the games are optimized for our 5:4 ratio that we use. The arcade game stuff, Rising Hell behind me right now too, is a modern game that they optimized to make it fit in the 5:4, right? Instead of a 16:9 aspect ratio like it is on other platforms, right? So, yep, it goes both. But yes, as much as possible, we try to have our developers and stuff optimize for the 5:4 ratio screen, the arcade style monitor that we use. Yep. Let's see here. What other questions? Any other questions? All right. Well, I got a block user. Here we go. Let me kill the chat spam. There we go. Okay. Sorry, I missed that one. All right. There we go. Steel Assault. Yeah, I know about Steel Assault. Don't you worry on that one too. 2 more questions still. Okay. Actual questions. Again, can't talk about games that are not announced or released yet. I know you always have questions about games, guys. Don't you worry. I know. I see them all day long. And we are always after more and more games, and we always have licenses loaded up, and we're always doing more and more work to get bigger and better titles and other things like that too. Galacticon theme cab, imagine. I know. You can actually see one in their trailer as well. All right. If I don't have any other questions, I'm going to call it a day. Sweet. And we'll all go about our merry way, play some games, have a good time, have a good Friday, have a good weekend. Let's see. Again, can't talk about games that are not announced. I understand. Let's see here. Okay, you guys can ask in-city questions all you want to. All right, I think that's it. Oh, wait, okay. I mean, this isn't a question, but yes, Chris, do tune into iArcade Zone tonight. I believe it's casino night, right? So shout out to iArcade Zone. They will be on at 7:30 p.m. Pacific Daily Time, 8:30 Eastern, right? So that's when the show starts later on a little bit here in like 4 hours, right? Yeah, it's casino night, so have some fun with those games. Yeah, the show's all about just playing the games. That's it, right? That's what we do on that show. All right, I think that's it. How would I rank the Pixel games? Oh, I'm not going to rank games. That's a dangerous, slippery slope if I start ranking games. I'm not going to do that. Is Mousebot remastered on iArcade? So the version we have for Mousebot is specifically made by Vector Unit for our system. Yes, it was optimized for the arcade. Yep. Along with like other Vector Unit games, right? Like Beach Buggy Racing 2, Mousebot, as well as Riptide GP Renegade. Yep. And of course, Riptide is 8-player online still for us here as well. Will I sell iArcade at Kohl's? I don't know. Who knows what the future holds, right? Why are you trying to use that Kohl's cash? I know how it goes. Interesting question. Could you do a live stream to introduce iArcade's current developer? I think I know what name you're talking about. Maybe one day too. We'll see. English is not always first languages for people too, so it does pose a gap sometimes. Some people are a little shy when they talk in English when it's not their first language. So that happens too. You're literally talking to a developer for iArcade right now. Just saying. Just so you know. But yeah, maybe soon enough too, we'll start bringing on more of our actual like developer partners and stuff too. I would love to do that for the show. We've done it in the past. It's just, honestly, we've not had a lot of time. We've got a lot going on this year. We had a lot going on last year. Year 2 for a startup is even more massive than year 1, right? So there's a lot of stuff to fight off that sophomore slump that we do. And there's a lot, right? So because of that, I don't have time to necessarily plan out shows and things all the time too. I'm not doing shows full time, right? Even today was pretty impromptu for me, but we'll see. Maybe I can start bringing on some developers soon. We're going to have to talk to them, a lot of them again, coming up in the upcoming weeks right now too. So stay tuned on that stuff. But yeah, maybe I'll bring in some more developers for the show too. Maybe you'll see Zhang again very shortly. Are we planning on release? Here's a question I get all the time too. Are you planning on releasing the arcade versions of the Coleco games you have? Don't know, right? Who knows? Coleco titles are kind of their own thing. They're different licenses than the actual arcade games as well too. Keep that in mind. They're not the same. Just because we have Jungle Hunt for Coleco does not mean that we have Jungle Hunt for the arcade specifically, right? Which are 2 different versions of the game. Totally understand that. I know you might want one or the other. For the meantime, nothing is announced on that kind of stuff yet. All right. I think that's it. I think we're good. It's good. It's good enough for today. Those are the questions. Those are your answers. There you go. All right. Well, thanks everybody. I'm not ranking them, but there you go. Papa Brad might be ranking them. All right. But yes. Have a good Friday, everybody, too. I hope you actually have time to enjoy the weekend. It's do all the fall things now, right? It's starting to change. Now the weather's changing. It's not piping hot outside, too. You're not going to be sweating all the time, which is great. However, get your sweaters on, stuff like that, too. Dress appropriately. Drink responsibly. All that stuff. But yeah, have a good weekend. Thanks for tuning in. Again, stay tuned for next week. We'll have some fun stuff planned for next week. You'll see me for sure. Maybe you'll see some other characters along with me, too. We'll have a good time. So tune in next week, Friday should be 3 p.m. CDT. Maybe it won't be, but stay tuned on that. But yes, on Friday we will do another show, and we will have some announcements next week too. Until then, keep having fun, play some games. There's plenty on there too. There's almost 400 now, which is great. I love it. There's the online features are still there too, so keep testing that stuff out too. It does provide great data for us. I'm just saying. So thank you for that. We do appreciate all your efforts as well too, and thanks so much for all your support. And again, tuning in to shows like this, watching me and my dumb talking self all the time too. So thanks again, and I will see you all next week. I'll play you out with let's go with this little fun trailer too. All right, until then, have fun, play some games.